There's a moment that happens on almost every first date, but people do not talk about it out in the open. It usually happens somewhere between the drink and the ride home. You are sitting across from someone you find attractive. The conversation is going great. They are laughing at your jokes. They're asking you questions about your life. Suddenly your brain starts thinking, not on purpose, quietly, automatically. You start deciding which parts of yourself are safe to share and which parts should stay hidden for now. You mention the job you got, but not the panic attacks that came with it. You talk about your apartment in Chicago, not the nights you sat alone on the kitchen floor wondering if your life was falling apart. You say your last relationship did not work out. You do not mention how long it took you to trust yourself again after it ended. And the scary part is this. The more you like someone, the carefully you edit yourself. Because deep down, most people are not afraid of being rejected by someone they just met. They're afraid of being fully known and then abandoned anyway. That is why being honest on dates feels so complicated. You want to connect with someone. You also want to protect yourself. You want to be seen, only in ways that still make you lovable. The hard truth is that most people go into dating carrying around baggage that they hope nobody notices too early. Some people are hiding how lonely they are. Some are hiding heartbreak. Some are hiding debt, grief, insecurity, exhaustion, or years of feeling misunderstood. Dating these days has created a game where people feel like they need to appear emotionally healthy, independent, confident, successful, attractive, and completely unbothered by life. Especially in cities like New York, London, or Toronto, where everyone seems busy and emotionally unavailable at the time. You meet someone through a dating app. You exchange messages that make you sound cool. You choose photos that make you look good. Then you sit across from each other pretending your lives are emotionally organized than they really are. Carl Jung once said, "The best thing that can happen to you is to become who you truly are." That becomes difficult when dating often rewards pretending to be perfect before being authentic. So, people slowly become actors in their relationships. They reveal truth to create intimacy, but not enough to risk rejection. Over time, this creates emotional exhaustion because pretending to be emotionally simpler than you really are very lonely. One reason people do this is because of something psychologists call self-presentation. People naturally filter themselves in situations where acceptance matters. It is not about manipulating others most of the time. It is about protection. Your nervous system wants connection. It also wants safety. So, on dates, people unconsciously create acceptable versions of themselves. Another reason is pacing. Being too vulnerable early can overwhelm people emotionally because trust has not been built yet. This is why someone may tell you about their travel memories before they tell you about the divorce that changed their life. Vulnerability works best in layers. Slowly, naturally. Not because honesty is bad, because emotional intimacy needs time to breathe. Then there's another reason almost nobody notices: fear-based editing. Sometimes people are not hiding who they are because they are fake. They are hiding because they were punished for honesty in the past. Maybe they opened up quickly in another relationship and got judged. Maybe someone used their vulnerability against them. Maybe they learned that emotional transparency can scare people away. So now they calculate every confession carefully. They test safety before revealing deeper truths. Finally, there is the deepest reason of all: the desire to be loved imperfectly. Not admired, not idealized. Loved, truly loved. Most adults are not secretly searching for perfection anymore. They're searching for permission to be human without being abandoned for it. You see this everywhere in life. A man in Los Angeles spends a dinner date sounding confident and successful, then goes home alone wondering if anyone would still want him if they knew how anxious he really feels every morning before work. A woman in London jokes about being bad at relationships, while hiding the fact that her last breakup left her shattered for nearly 2 years. Someone in Vancouver says they are very independent. What they really mean is they became emotionally self-sufficient because, depending on people, hurt too much before. Two people sit in a restaurant in Boston talking about music, travel, Netflix shows, and career goals while carefully avoiding the heavier truths sitting quietly underneath the table. One hides family trauma. The other hides burnout. Both desperately want intimacy. Both are terrified of losing attraction if the conversation becomes real too fast. Even texting has become part of this game. People rewrite messages 10 times before sending them. They wait calculated amounts of time before replying because they do not want to seem too interested. Someone stares at their phone at midnight wanting to say, "I actually miss you." Instead, sends a meme because vulnerability feels riskier than silence. And beneath all of it is the human fear. If they see the whole version of me, will they still stay? This is why the work of psychologists like Brené Brown resonates so deeply with millions of people. She says vulnerability is not weakness. It is uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. That perfectly describes early dating. You are essentially asking another being, will you still choose me once the polished version fades? Attachment theory also explains why honesty feels easier for some people than others. People who feel secure in their relationships often believe they can be loved when imperfect, while people who are anxious or avoidant may either overshare too quickly or hide emotionally to protect themselves. Esther Perel often talks about how modern relationships carry expectations. We want one person to make us feel safe, excited, understood, desired, emotionally secure, and psychologically healed at once. That pressure makes honesty feel dangerous because people fear disappointing the fantasy someone has created about them. Even Sigmund Freud believed humans spend energy managing the tension between hidden desires and social acceptance. In words, people want love, but they also want emotional approval. So they constantly negotiate which truths are safe enough to reveal. Real intimacy does not happen when two perfect performances meet each other. It happens when two nervous systems slowly realize they no longer need to perform so much. Maybe that is the real lesson about honesty on early dates. Honesty is not about dumping your entire life story onto someone over appetizers and wine. It is not transparency without emotional awareness. Real honesty is quieter than that. Softer, smarter. It is the courage to stop hiding behind the edited version of yourself. It is allowing someone to slowly discover your fears, your contradictions, your scars, your strange habits, your difficult history, your imperfect humanity, and trusting that real connection can survive reality. Because the truth is, nobody falls deeply in love with perfection for long. Eventually, perfection becomes exhausting. What people remember is safety. The feeling that they can exhale around you. The feeling that they do not have to monitor themselves to earn affection. Years from now, nobody will care that you look confident on the date or said all the right things. What will matter is whether someone felt emotionally safe enough to become real around you. That is what intimacy actually is. Two people slowly lowering the mask without fear that love will disappear once the performance ends.